Good morning, YouTube. YouTube, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. OG Truth Talk. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. As people come in, good morning. Good morning, good morning. What's up with my YouTube family? Hope everybody good early this morning. Good content for you guys today. Great content. Great content, y'all. Yeah, kind of a little bit overslept. I was up watching the NBA playoff last night. Some good games, so I kind of overslept. So I woke up, did my normal morning routine, made my coffee. Now I'm here. Yeah. What's up, people? Yeah, today I'm going to show where it all began. Where it all began. Let's see. Like I said, a lot of this stuff was planted way back in biblical times. And a lot of this stuff was prophesied on what, especially the things that happening today. So I brought some receipts, and like I say, what I'm about to talk about today, you can look it up yourself. You know, like I told you, it's different parts of the Bible. Uh, that tells you the true story of what's going on. And I just brought some receipts for y'all. Well, if you get a chance, look up the book of Enoch, because that's what this audio is from the book of Enoch. It's one of the lost books that was in the Bible, that was taken out the Bible. And like I explained to you guys, the books that King James took out were purposely done because if you read the book of Enoch and the other books that I mentioned, you'll have a clear understanding of what's happening. You have a clear understanding, of the power struggle between spiritual warfare and righteous, spiritual warfare. But like I say, it's not about race. It's about good versus evil. And it's always been like that. Race was just thrown in. That's a part of separatism. It's a part of separatism. But I'm gonna play. I don't know if it's gonna be two parts. If I'm gonna make this a two-part thing, do some of it today and some of it tomorrow because it's kind of long. And today I don't have that time to be on 5 and 6 hours. But if it depends on how far I get. But like I say, it'll probably be a part two. So we're just gonna see how far we got. But this is gonna tell everything has beginning. Enoch was
Repart. I also.
Excuse me. Enoch was a man who lived back there in biblical times. He lived amongst sinners. He lived amongst a lot of sins, but he still kept faith in God. And at the time, he was the only man who really got to see the heavens and got to see God. And he was the first one who God gave a pamphlet of his laws to give to the people. He was like a prophet. He was like made a prophet, but he was the only man while he was alive got to go to heaven. God summons him to heaven. But as it goes on, you guys will hear it. You guys will hear it. So without further ado, let's get on with the tape.
From the Book of Enoch. Parable of Enoch on the future lot of the wicked and the righteous. Chapter 1. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous who will be living in the day of tribulation, when the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he took up his parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angels showed me. And from them I heard everything. And from them I understood as I saw, but not for this generation, but for a remote one, which is for to come. Concerning the elect, I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might from the heaven of heavens. And all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake, and great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth. And
the watchers are the angels that God sent to watch over the people of the earth. That's what the angels was for. It was for to watch the people over the earth. But we'll see what happened later on. Let's continue.
High mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame. And the earth shall be wholly rent in sunder, and all that is upon the earth shall perish, and there shall be judgment upon all men. But with the righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and mercy shall be upon them, and they shall all belong to God, and they shall all be prospered, and they shall all be blessed. And he will help them all, and light shall appear unto them, and he will make peace with them. And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones, to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed. and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against.
Say, say the watchers was to watch over the people and basically cast judgment against the people wasn't following under who was godless, who wasn't righteous. So they was like supervisors. It was like to look. They was placed down there to look over the people of the earth. That's what they job. But we'll see how that shit develops.
Hymn, chapter 2. Observe ye everything that takes place in the heaven, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries which are in the heaven, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. Behold ye the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it, from first to last, how steadfast they are, how none of the things upon earth change, but all the works of God appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds and dew and rain lie upon it. Chapter 3. Observe and see how in the winter all the trees seem as though they had withered and shed all their leaves, except 14 trees which do not lose their foliage, but retain the old foliage from 2 to 3 years, till the new comes. Chapter 4. And again observe ye the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth over against it, and you seek shade and shelter by reason of the heat of the sun. And the earth also burns with growing heat, and so you cannot tread on the earth or on a rock.
What's
by
up,
reason
CX2?
of its heat. Chapter 5. Observe ye how the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit. Wherefore give ye heed and know with regard to all his works, and recognize how he that liveth forever hath made them so. And all his works go on thus from year to year forever, and all the tasks which they accomplish for him, and their tasks change not, but according as God
What's
hath
up, Shadi?
ordained, so is it done. And behold how the sea and the rivers in like manner accomplish and change not their tasks from his commandments. But ye have not been steadfast, nor done the commandments of the Lord, but ye have turned away and spoken proud and hard words with your impure mouths against his greatness. O ye hard-hearted, ye shall find no peace. Therefore shall ye execrate your days, and the years of your life shall perish, and the years of your destruction shall be multiplied in eternal execration, and ye shall find no mercy. In those days ye shall make your names an eternal execration unto all the righteous, and by you shall all who curse, curse, and all the sinners and godless shall imprecate by you. And for you, the godless, there shall be a curse, and all the elect shall rejoice, and there shall be forgiveness of sins, and every mercy and peace and forbearance. There shall be salvation unto them, a goodly light. And for all you sinners there shall be no salvation, and on you all shall abide a curse. But for the elect there shall be light and joy and peace, and they shall inherit the earth.
Now he was explaining, but if you're godless, you will be cursed, and all the elect shall rejoice. You know, the people who's godly, they will rejoice, but the godless, they will be cursed. You know, the godly people, they will be forgiven of their sins, but the ungodly, they will be cursed. Let's continue.
And then there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom, and they shall all live and never again sin, either through ungodliness or through pride. But they who are wise shall be humble, and they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life, nor shall they die of the divine anger or wrath, but they shall complete the number of the days of their life.
See, when you have God in your heart, you'll have peace. You'll have peace within yourself. You'll get wisdom. You get wise. That comes with having God in your heart. See, pride would take no place in you. So it's powerful. It's powerful. Let's continue.
And their lives shall be increased in peace, and the years of their joy shall be multiplied in eternal gladness and peace all the days of their life. The fall of the angels, the demoralization of mankind, the intercession of the angels on behalf of mankind, the dooms pronounced by God on the angels, the messianic kingdom.
Okay, now this chapter is going to talk about the fallen angels and how, people was cursed on earth, and how the fallen angels was cursed because they did not do what God sent them to do. Now, remember, these are angels that's in heaven. These were angels that was standing beside God. These are people who looked like God, who was with God. So we're going to see how this goes.
Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters.
Now, remind you, this is after Adam and Eve. Because if you go to the Bible, the book of Genesis, it speaks of Enoch, but it doesn't go into detail of Enoch. See, this right here seems like it belonged right after they mentioned Enoch in the King James Version. But this part here is what they took out the Bible, out the King James Version. So let's continue.
And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin.
Now, see, that's one of the fallen angels who was saying that God would not accept of what they're about to do. Because, see, they wanted to go down, they was lusting after the women on earth. And that wasn't what God sent them down to do. So they went against God's word. So let's continue.
And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations
What's up, JJ?
not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And there were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they'd sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders.
Now, what they about to name, they about to name the leaders of the fallen angels. It was 10 of them. 10 leaders of thousands of angels. But these were the 10 leaders they're about to name.
Semiazaz, their leader, Arikabah, Ramiel, Kokabiel, Camiel, Ramiel, Ganel, Ezekiel, Barakijal, Asael, Amaros, Batarel, Ananel, Zachiel, Samsapiel, Satarel, Turel, Jomjael, Sariel. These are their chiefs of tens. Chapter 7. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives. Each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them and defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood.
See, they was doing a lot of things that was against God. See, they opened a lot of people's eyes to unrighteousness on earth. They opened their eyes to unrighteousness. And like I said, that wasn't the job that they was assigned to do by God. But they disobeyed God, by mating with the women of the earth, having children, and all that. That wasn't what they was there for. So they disobeyed God.
Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. Chapter 8. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Semjazer taught enchantments and root cuttings, Amaros the resolving of enchantments. Barakijal taught astrology, Kokabel the constellations, Ezekiel the knowledge of the clouds, Arachiel the signs of the earth, Shamsiel the signs of the sun, and Sariel the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven.
See, the different leaders were teaching the people different things. So, like today, a lot of people go by astrology, your signs and all that. That's the devil. When you go by astrology sign, that's the devil. That's not godly. Because through the day, people used to like to judge people by their sign, Taurus, Aries, Sagittarius, whatever, so forth and so on. But that's the devil. That's not godly. But that's what they taught.
Chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said one to another, The earth, made without inhabitant, cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, Bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all the generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel hath done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn, and Semjazer, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying, and make their suit to the gates of heaven. And their lamentations have ascended, and cannot cease, because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass, and thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them. And thou dost not say to us what we are to do to them in regard to these.
The drug cartels killed my family.
So, they taught, the people ungodliness. They taught people sin. They taught people unrighteous things while they was on earth. And like I said, that wasn't their job to do. So they disobeyed God. They disobeyed God. So that's how it all began. Let's continue.
Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One spake, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, Go to Noah, and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it.
Now see, this was before the time of Moses. So he's instructing one of the angels to go to Moses and instruct him to do what he did. Of course, as we know now, to build the ark. Because God was tired of the bloodshed and sins that was going on the earth. See, at that time, God wasn't a merciful God. If you disobeyed him, you were strictly punished. You were strictly punished. It wasn't no mercy and grace in God at that time. You went against his word, you went against his law, you was punished. As you heard, if you was ungodly, you had shorter days. If you was righteous, you had longer days. See, that's how God was working. It wasn't no such thing as mercy and grace at that time.
and now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudael, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth, and send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days they shall not have. And no request that they, their fathers, make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, go, bind Semjaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is for ever and ever is consummated. And in those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations, and destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end. And let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. And then shall all the righteous escape, and shall live till they beget thousands of children. And all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. And then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall all be planted with trees, and be full of blessing. And all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it. And the vine which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown thereon, each measure of it shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanness that is wrought upon the earth. Destroy from off the earth.
Now, see, he's sending the angels to speak to Moses. And that was his plan with the great flood, to erase all the unrighteous, all the uncleanness people, and all that. So that's why God sent his angel to Moses to tell him to, per se, to build the ark, and explaining what he's going to do and why he's doing it.
And all the children of men shall become righteous, and all nations shall offer adoration and shall praise me, and all shall worship me. And the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment. And I will never again send them upon it, from generation to generation, and forever.
So he's basically saying once he does this, he's not going to do it again. He's not going to do it again. And you look and you go through the Bible, he never did what he did with the great flood on earth. He never did what he did, with the flood. He never did that again. Let's continue.
Chapter 11. And in those days I will open the store chambers of blessing which are in the heaven, so as to send them down upon the earth, over the work and labor of the children of men. And truth and peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world, and throughout all the generations of men. Dream vision of Enoch, his intercession for Azazel and the fallen angels, and his announcement to them of their first and final doom. Chapter 12. Before these things Enoch was hidden, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden, and where he abode, and what had become of him. And his activities had to do with the watchers, and his days were with the holy ones. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty and the King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go, declare to the watchers of the heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives, ye have wrought great destruction on the earth. And ye shall have no peace, nor forgiveness of sin. And inasmuch as they delight themselves in their children, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see. And over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity. But mercy and peace shall ye not attain. Chapter.
See what I'm saying? God didn't give people mercy at that time. Either you followed this law or you was punished. Either you followed God's law or you was punished. That's how God was. So it shows you why Jesus Christ sacrificed his life for people. Because they knew the earth was unholy. You had a lot of unholy people on earth. So Jesus was like saying, Lord, don't, have mercy. I sacrifice myself for the sins of generations to come. Have mercy. And that's when God started granting grace and mercy. Because of Jesus. Jesus the Christ.
13. And Enoch went and said, Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. A severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds, and I shall not have toleration nor request granted to thee, because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught, and because of all the works of godlessness and unrighteousness and sin which thou hast shown to men. Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven. For from thenceforward they could not speak with him, nor lift up their eyes to heaven for shame of their sins for which they had been condemned. Then I wrote out their petition and the prayer in regard to their spirits and their deeds individually, and in regard to their requests that they should have forgiveness and length of days. And I went off and sat down at the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the south of the west of Hermon. I read their petition till I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell down upon me. And I saw visions of chastisement, and a voice bidding me to tell it to the sons of heaven, and reprimand them. And when I awaked, I came unto them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping in Abel's jail, which is between Lebanon and Senneser, with their faces covered. And I recounted before them all the visions which I had seen in sleep. And I began to speak the words of righteousness, and to reprimand the heavenly watchers. Chapter 14. The book of the words of righteousness, and of the reprimand of the eternal watchers, in accordance with the command of the Holy Great One in that vision. I saw in my sleep what I will now say with the tongue of flesh and with the breath of my mouth, which the Great One has given to men to converse therewith and understand with the heart. As he has created and given to man the power of understanding the word of wisdom, so hath he created me also, and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared thus, that your petition will not be granted unto you throughout all the days of eternity, and that judgment has been finally passed upon you. Yea, your petition will not be granted unto you.
See, if you went against God's word, God didn't forgive you at that time. God did not forgive you. You went against his word, that was it. That was it. You know. And he used Enoch to deliver the message to the watchers. You know, they gave him a petition, you know, probably to ask God to forgive him or whatever. But God said, no. You broke my my commandment. You broke what I sent you down to the earth to do.
And from henceforth you shall not ascend into heaven unto all eternity. And in bonds of the earth the decree has gone forth to bind you for all the days of the world. And that previously you shall have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and ye shall have no pleasure in them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. And your petition on their behalf shall not be granted, nor yet on your own, even though you weep and pray and speak all the words contained in the writing which I have written.
See, if you, like when the watchers had kids, their kids was cursed. You know, generation to generation, they was cursed because in the beginning they disobeyed God. So their children and their children, they was all cursed.
And the vision was shown to me thus. Behold, in the vision, clouds invited me, and a mist summoned me. And the course of the stars and the lightnings sped and hastened me. And the winds in the vision caused me to fly and lifted me upward and bore me into heaven. And I went in till I drew nigh to a wall which is built of crystals and surrounded by tongues of fire. And it began to affright me. And I went into the tongues of fire and drew nigh to a large house which was built of crystals. And the walls of the house were like tessellated floor made of crystals, and its groundwork was of crystal. Its ceiling was like the path of the stars and the lightnings, and between them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was clear as water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed with fire. And I entered into that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice. There were no delights of life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling got hold upon me. And as I quaked and trembled, I fell on my face. And I beheld a vision, and lo, it was a second house, greater than the former, and the entire portal stood open before me, and it was built of flames of fire. And in every respect, so excelled in splendor and magnificence and extent that I cannot describe to you its splendor and its extent. And its floor was of fire, and above it were lightnings and the path of the stars, and its ceiling also was flaming fire. And I looked and saw therein a lofty throne. Its appearance was as crystal, and the wheels thereof as the shining sun. And there was the vision of cherubim. And from underneath the throne came streams of flaming fire, so that I could not look thereon. And the great glory sat thereon, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun, and was whiter than any snow. None of the angels could enter and behold his face, by reason of the magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none around could draw nigh him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, yet he needed no counselor. And the most holy ones who were nigh to him did not leave by night, nor depart from him. And until then I had been prostrate on my face, trembling. And the Lord called me with his own mouth, and said to me, Come hither, Enoch, and hear my word. And one of the holy ones came to me and waked me, and made me rise up and approach the door. And I bowed my face downwards. Chapter 15. And he answered and said to me, and I heard his voice, Fear not, Enoch, thou righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Approach hither, and hear my voice. And go say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent me to intercede for them, You should intercede for men, and not men for you. Wherefore have ye left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants as your sons? And though ye were holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh. And as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those also who die and perish. Therefore have I given them wives also, that they might impregnate them, and beget children by them, and thus nothing might be wanting to them on earth. But you were formerly spiritual, living the eternal life, and immortal for all generations of the world, and therefore I have not appointed wives for you. For as for the spiritual ones of the heaven, in heaven is their dwelling. And now the giants, who are produced from the spirits and flesh, shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men, and from the holy watchers is their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. As for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of the earth, which were born upon the earth, on earth shall be their dwelling.
See, that's why I said it's not about race, man. It's not about race. It's about good and evil. good and evil. Like I said before, you have some good white people, you have some evil white people. You have some good black people, you have some evil black people. You know, all nationalities, you have good and evil people. So it's not necessarily about race, people. It's not about race. It's about good and evil. Always been. It always been. Let's continue.
And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and cause offenses. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men, and against the women, because they have proceeded from them. Chapter 16. From the days of the slaughter and destruction and death of the giants, from the souls of whose flesh the spirits, having gone forth, shall destroy without incurring judgment. Thus shall they destroy until the day of the consummation, the great judgment, in which the age shall be consummated over the watchers and the godless, yea, shall be wholly consummated. And now, as to the watchers who have sent thee to intercede for them, who had been aforetime in heaven, say to them, you have been in heaven, but all the mysteries had not yet been revealed to you. And you knew worthless ones, and these, in the hardness of your hearts, you've made known to the women. And through these mysteries, women and men work much evil on earth. Say to them, therefore, you have no peace. Enoch's journeys through the earth and Sheol. The first journey. Chapter 17. And they took and brought me to a place in which those who were there were like flaming fire, and, when they wished, they appeared as men. And they brought me to the place of darkness, and to a mountain, the point of whose summit reached to heaven. And I saw the places of the luminaries, and the treasuries of the stars, and of the thunder, and in the uttermost depths, where were a fiery bow and arrows, and their quiver, and a fiery sword, and all the lightnings. And they took me to the living waters, and to the fire of the west, which receives every setting of the sun. And I came to a river of fire, in which the fire flows like water and discharges itself into the great sea towards the west. I saw the great rivers, and came to the great river, and to the great darkness, and went to the place where no flesh walks. I saw the mountains of the darkness of winter, and the place where all the waters of the deep flow. I saw the mouths of all the rivers of the earth, and the mouth of the deep. Chapter 18. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation, and the firm foundations of the earth. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the four winds which bear the earth, and the firmament of the heaven.
See, God showed Enoch all this. He showed Enoch, the different parts of heaven. He showed Enoch, he showed him everything. And remind you, Enoch was the first one who goes to heaven in flesh. Because see, you don't enter heaven, your flesh will not enter the kingdom of heaven. It's your spirit. But Enoch was the first one who entered the kingdom of heaven, flesh-wise. No, but he taught Enoch. He showed Enoch what he did on earth. He showed Enoch the whole lot of things. He taught Enoch. See, he used Enoch as a messenger. You know, like he sent Enoch to go to the watches to talk to the fallen angels. You know, so he used Enoch, not used in a way of that we'll say you use somebody, but he used Enoch to carry his word. Let's continue.
And I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heaven. I saw the wings of heaven, which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. I saw the wings on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the paths of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. And I proceeded and saw a place which burns day and night, where there are 7 mountains of magnificent stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. And as for those towards the east, one was of colored stone, and one of pearl, and one of jacinth, and those towards the south of red stone. But the middle one reached to heaven like the throne of God, of alabaster, and the summit of the throne was of sapphire. And I saw a flaming fire, and beyond these mountains is a region, the end of the great earth, where the heavens were completed. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure alike, towards the height and towards the depth. And beyond that abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains, and to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years." Chapter 19. And Uriel said to me, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. And I, Enoch, alone saw the vision, the ends of all things, and no man shall see as I have seen." Chapter 20. And these are the names of the holy angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels, who is over the world and over Tartarus. Raphael, one of the holy angels, who is over the spirits of men. Raguel, one of the holy angels, who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. Michael, one of the holy angels, to wit, he that is set over the best part of mankind, and over chaos. Sarachael, one of the holy angels, who is set over the spirits who sin in the spirit. Gabriel, one of the holy angels, who is over paradise and the serpents and the cherubim. Remiel, one of the holy angels, whom God set over those who rise. preliminary and final place of punishment.
Okay, now those angels that he just named, those was the holy angels. They wasn't part of the fallen angels. So these angels are the one that God appointed after the fallen angels to do the task of what the watchers are supposed to do. See, so they basically watching over the watchers and watching over the children of the watchers.
The fallen angels, stars. Chapter 21. And I proceeded to where things were chaotic, and I saw there something horrible. I saw neither heaven above, nor a firmly founded earth, but a place chaotic and horrible. And there I saw 7 stars of the heaven bound together in it, like great mountains, and burning with fire. Then I said, for what sin are they bound, and on what account have they been cast in hither? Then said Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, and was chief over them, and said, Enoch, why dost thou ask? And why art thou eager for the truth? These are of the number of the stars of heaven which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord, and are bound here till 10,000 years, the time entailed by their sins, are consummated. And from thence I went to another place, which was still more horrible than the former, and I saw a horrible thing, a great fire there, which burnt and blazed, and the place was cleft as far as the abyss, being full of great descending columns of fire. Neither its extent or magnitude could I see, nor could I conjecture. Then I said, how fearful is the place, and how terrible to look upon. Then Uriel answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said unto me, Enoch, why hast thou such fear and affright? And I answered, because of this fearful place, and because of the spectacle of the pain. And he said unto me, this place is the prison of the angels, and here they will be imprisoned forever.
Bad news. Your business.
See, Enoch is being showed different places, different parts of heaven. See, people, technically, we're living in hell. The earth is considered hell. You know, basically. So what people are trying to do is get to the kingdom of heaven, because the earth is filled with nothing but sin. See, that's we go back to another thing, you know. Jesus asked God to forgive us for our sin. He sacrificed himself. Because while you're here on earth, you're going to sin. You're going to sin. So, you know, the angels just showing them different places. Let's continue.
And thence I went to another place, and he showed me in the west another great and high mountain, and of hard rock. And there was in it 4 hollow places, deep and wide, and very smooth. How smooth are the hollow places, and deep and dark to look at. Then Raphael answered one of the holy angels who was with me, and said unto me, these hollow places have been created for this very purpose, that the spirits of the souls of the dead should assemble therein. Yea, that all the souls of the children of men should assemble here. And these places have been made to receive them till the day of their judgment and their appointed period, till the great judgment comes upon them. I saw the spirits of the children of men who were dead, and their voice went forth to heaven and made suit. Then I asked Raphael, the angel who was with me, and I said unto him, This spirit, whose is it whose voice goeth out and maketh suit? And he answered me, saying, This is the spirit which went forth from Abel, whom his brother Cain slew. And he makes his suit against him, till his seed is destroyed from the face of the earth, and his seed is annihilated from amongst the seed of men. Then I asked regarding it, and regarding all the hollow places, Why is one separated from the other? And he answered and said unto me, These three have been made, that the spirits of the dead might be separated. And such a division has been made for the spirits of the righteous, in which there is the bright spring of water. And such has been made for sinners when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not been executed on them in their lifetime. Here their spirits shall be set apart in this great pain, till the great day of judgment and punishment and torment of those who curse forever, and retribution for their spirits. There he shall bind them forever. And such a division has been made for the spirits of those who make their suit, who make disclosures concerning their destruction, when they were slain in the days of the sinners. Such has been made for the spirits of men who were not righteous, but sinners, who were complete in transgression. And of the transgressors they shall be companions. But their spirits shall not be slain in the day of judgment, nor shall they be raised from thence. Then I blessed the Lord of glory, and said, Blessed be my Lord, the Lord of righteousness, who ruleth forever. The fire that deals with the luminaries of heaven. Chapter 23. From thence I went to another place, to the west of the ends of the earth. And I saw a burning fire, which ran without resting, and paused not from its course, day or night, but ran regularly. And I asked, saying, What is this which rests not? Then Raguel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me, and said unto me, This course of fire which thou hast seen is the fire in the west, which persecutes all the luminaries of heaven. The 7 mountains in the northwest, and the tree of life. Chapter 24. And from thence I went to another place of the earth, and he showed me a mountain range of fire, which burnt day and night. And I went beyond it, and saw 7 magnificent mountains, all differing each from the other, and the stones thereof were magnificent and beautiful, magnificent as a whole, of glorious appearance and fair exterior. 3 towards the east, 1 founded on the other, and 3 towards the south, 1 upon the other, and deep rough ravines, no one of which joined with any other. And the 7th mountain was in the midst of these, and it excelled them in height, resembling the seat of a throne, and fragrant trees encircled the throne. And amongst them was a tree, such as I had never yet smelt. Neither was any amongst them, nor were others like it. It had a fragrance beyond all fragrance, and its leaves and blooms and wood wither not forever. And its fruit is beautiful, and its fruit resembled the dates of a palm. Then I said, How beautiful is this tree, and fragrant, and its leaves are fair, and its blooms very delightful in appearance. Then answered Michael, one of the holy and honored angels who was with me, and was their leader. Chapter 25. And he said unto me, Enoch, why dost thou ask me regarding the fragrance of the tree, and why dost thou wish to learn the truth? Then I answered him, saying, I wish to know about everything, but especially about this tree. And he answered, saying, This high mountain which thou hast seen, whose summit is like the throne of God, is his throne, where the holy great one, the Lord of glory, the eternal King, will sit, when he shall come down to visit the earth with goodness. And as for this fragrant tree, no mortal is permitted to touch it, till the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all and bring everything to its consummation forever. It shall then be given to the righteous and holy. Its fruit shall be for food to the elect. It shall be transplanted to the holy place, to the temple of the Lord, the eternal King. Then shall they rejoice with joy and be glad, and into the holy place shall they enter, and its fragrance shall be in their bones. And they shall live a long life on earth, such as thy fathers lived. And in their days shall no sorrow or plague or torment or calamity touch them. Then bless I the God of glory, the eternal King, who hath prepared such things for the righteous, and hath created them and promised to give to them. Jerusalem and the mountains, ravines, and streams. Chapter 26. And I went from thence to the middle of the earth, and I saw a blessed place, in which there were trees with branches abiding and blooming of a dismembered tree. And there I saw a holy mountain, and underneath the mountain to the east there was a stream, and it flowed towards the south. And I saw towards the east another mountain higher than this, and between them a deep and narrow ravine. In it also ran a stream underneath the mountain. And to the west thereof there was another mountain, lower than the former, and of small elevation, and a ravine deep and dry between them. And another deep and dry ravine was at the extremities of the three mountains. And all the ravines were deep and narrow, being formed of hard rock, and trees were not planted upon them. And I marveled at the rocks, and I marveled at the ravine. Yea, I marveled very much. The purpose of the accursed valley. Chapter 27. Then said I, for what object is this blessed land which is entirely filled with trees, and this accursed valley between? Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered and said, this accursed valley is for those who are accursed forever. Here shall all the accursed be gathered together, who utter with their lips against the Lord unseemly words, and of his glory speak hard things. Here shall they be gathered together, and here shall be their place of judgment. In the last days there shall be upon them the spectacle of righteous judgment in the presence of the righteous forever. Here shall the merciful bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King. In the days of judgment over the former, they shall bless him for the mercy in accordance with which he has assigned them their lot. Then I blessed the Lord of glory, and set forth his glory, and lauded him gloriously. Further journey to the east. Chapter 28. And thence I went towards the east, into the midst of the mountain range of the desert. And I saw a wilderness, and it was solitary, full of trees and plants. And water gushed forth from above, rushing like a copious watercourse, which flowed towards the northwest. It caused clouds and dew to ascend on every side. Chapter 29. And thence I went to another place in the desert, and approached to the east of this mountain range. And there I saw aromatic trees, exhaling the fragrance of frankincense and myrrh. And the trees also were similar to the almond tree. Chapter 30. And beyond these I went afar to the east, and I saw another place, a valley full of water. And therein was a tree, the color of fragrant trees, such as the mastic. And on the sides of those valleys I saw fragrant cinnamon. And beyond these I proceeded to the east. Chapter 31. And I saw other mountains, and among them were groves of trees, and there flowed forth from them nectar, which is sarara and galbanum. And beyond these mountains I saw another mountain to the east of the ends of the earth, whereon were aloe trees, and all the trees were full of stacte, being like almond trees. And when one burnt it, It smelled sweeter than any fragrant odor. Chapter 32. And after these fragrant odors, as I looked towards the north over the mountains, I saw 7 mountains full of choice nard and fragrant trees and cinnamon and pepper. And thence I went over the summits of all these mountains, far towards the east of the earth, and passed above the Erythraean Sea, and went far from it, and passed over the angel Zotiel. And I came to the garden of righteousness, and saw beyond those trees many large trees growing there, and of goodly fragrance, large, very beautiful, and glorious. And the tree of wisdom, whereof they eat, and know great wisdom. That tree is in height like the fir, and its leaves are like those of the carob tree, and its fruit is like the clusters of the vine, very beautiful, and the fragrance of the tree penetrates afar. Then I said, how beautiful is the tree, and how attractive is its look. Then Raphael, the holy angel who was with me, answered and said, this is the tree of wisdom, of which thy father, old in years, and thy aged mother, who were before thee, have eaten. And they learnt wisdom, and their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven out of the garden.
Okay, on that, he's talking about Adam and Eve. He's talking about Adam and Eve. So, like I say, y'all, it's not about race. It's all about good and evil, man. It's all about good and evil. I got another video. I want to go over. I want to go over. Mm. Let me see that. Bear with me, people. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, this video here is it's about Marcus Garvey and his teachings. And he was another black man. He was a leader who was trying to liberate the black community. Like I say, we had a lot of black leaders that was like that. But like in all instances, if a black man's too powerful, he's dangerous. Okay, I got you, JJ. Okay. Yeah, let's begin with this.
Harlem, 1920. But on this hot summer day in Harlem, something different is happening. 2,000 people from across the world have descended on New York City for what would become the largest black parade in American history. They marched down Lenox Avenue like an army, complete with their own military units in pressed uniforms, nurses in pristine white robes, and a marching band playing triumphant music. This wasn't just a parade. This was a display of power and sheer will from a people who've had enough. Every uniform group, from the nurses to the motor corps, represented a piece of what Marcus Garvey had built, a nation within a nation. And the man...
This is from Black Stories Untold. It's Marcus Garvey, the black man too dangerous for America.
Himself stood in the center of it all, dressed like an African general, leading what he called the Universal Negro Improvement Association. But just 6 years earlier, Marcus Garvey had arrived in America with very little money in his pocket and the utter bravery to pull off a wild idea. The idea that black people could build their own economic empire. And he did exactly that, building an empire of 700 branches across 38 states, a newspaper reaching hundreds of thousands, ships, factories, businesses.
The cry of Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad.
But he had enemies, powerful people that wanted him gone for trying to break the status quo. This is the story of how a humble stonemason's son built the largest mass movement in African American history, and why the most powerful nation on earth was determined to stop him. St. Ann's Bay, Jamaica, 1887. Marcus Garvey was born into a world where the shadows of slavery were still looming large. His father was a stonemason, known throughout St. Ann's Bay for something unusual, a private library. It was rare for any man in Jamaica to have that, let alone a black man. His mother worked as a domestic servant and farmer like many black women of her time. By age 14, Marcus was apprenticed to his godfather, Alfred Burroughs, a master printer. This wasn't just a trade, it was an education in how words could move people to action. In Burroughs' print shop, young Marcus learned to set type, operate presses, and most importantly, craft messages that would resonate with readers. But Jamaica was about to teach him his first brutal lesson about power. The British Empire still controlled Jamaica with an iron grip. The system was simple. Black workers toiled for poverty wages while white colonizers lived in mansions. The message was clear: know your place, stay in your lane. Marcus saw this reality up close when he became involved in labor politics. In 1907, he helped organize a printers' strike in Kingston. The strike failed, but it taught him something crucial. The system wasn't just unfair, it was designed to be unfair.
See, Marcus Garvey was into civil rights a long time. See, and he, things that he was taught, he learned. He learned how to do different things. He had somebody to take him on his wing, and he learned. And he was part of, civil rights for a long time, because like they say, the British, they was, Jamaica, and they brought racism there. So they basically started going through the same thing that America was going through. Let's continue.
Wasn't satisfied with this reality, so he did something few others dared. He left. 1910, Costa Rica. Here, Marcus witnessed how colonialism wasn't just about flags and governments. It was about corporations, too. The United Fruit Company was practically a government unto itself, a massive American corporation that controlled vast stretches of Central America through banana plantations. This company didn't just own the farms, they also owned the railroads, the ports, and even had enough power to topple governments that didn't cooperate. In their plantations, Marcus saw a system that looked suspiciously like slavery with a different name. Black and Caribbean workers lived in company shacks, bought food from company stores, and earned wages so low they could never escape their debt. They were worked until they broke, then discarded and replaced. For Marcus, This was his first glimpse at how freedom could be an illusion. The plantations might not have had whips and chains, but the system was designed to keep black workers trapped and powerless. 1912, London. Next, Marcus traveled to the heart of the British Empire, a city that controlled nearly a quarter of the world's population. London's grand buildings and wealthy streets were built with riches stripped from colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean. But Marcus wasn't there as a student or tourist. To survive, he worked as a messenger and handyman at the African Times and Orient Review, a newspaper focused on colonial politics. The pay was low, but the real education came after hours. In between shifts, he spent countless hours in London's public reading rooms, devouring books about history and politics. He may not have had formal education, but he made the city his classroom. Through his work,
He did his research. He did his research. He read. He did his research. And all down the line, man, all up the line. When you guys did their research and learned the truth, they became dangerous. Like I say, they don't want us to be smart. They want us to stay dumb. You've seen every instance that I showed you guys, from Malcolm X to Martin Luther King. Once they did their research and learned the truth and spoke the truth, it was dangerous. See, that's why I like to talk about history, to show how history repeats itself. It repeats itself. Now, this is back in the early 1900s. This was in the early 1900s. I remember Malcolm X was in the late 50s and 60s. So also Dr. Martin Luther King. Now, this is in the 1900s, early 1900s. Now, I already showed you about the early time of slavery. They did the same thing. It's a repeated cycle. What's up, it's your boy? It's a repeated cycle, man. And people say, why you talk about history? Why you talk about back then? To show you guys it's a repeated cycle. Show you the game they playing. See, once you learn, you know the tricks of the trade. A person with a strong mind is very powerful. When you don't have your own mind, you're weak, because you're easy to be led. But a person with a strong mind is very powerful. And don't be a black man.
the newspaper, he met African students and activists from various colonies who were studying at places like Birkbeck College. Their conversations opened his eyes to how Britain and other European powers had carved up Africa like a cake, taking its gold, diamonds, and resources while claiming to bring civilization. Each stop on his journey revealed the same pattern, whether it was fruit companies in Costa Rica, canal builders in Panama, or colonial officers in London. The system was designed to keep Black people working for others but never building wealth for themselves. Then, in London's reading rooms, he found a book that would change everything. It was written by Booker T. Washington, the most famous Black leader in America at the time. Washington had been born a slave and built Tuskegee Institute, a school that taught Black Americans trades and skills. His message was simple: learn trades, work hard, and gradually earn respect from white society. I read up from slavery, Marcus later wrote, and then my doom, if I may so call it, of being a race leader dawned upon me. Where is the black man's government? Where is his king and his kingdom? Where is his president, his country, his men of big affairs? I could not find them. And then I declared, I will help to make them. But where Washington preached patience and gradual progress, Marcus saw the need for something more radical. He had seen too much exploitation, too much systematic oppression to believe that patience alone would bring freedom. He returned to Japan.
Now, don't that sound familiar? Don't that sound familiar? Like back in the civil rights era, you had Malcolm X, you had Martin Luther King. But they was going on two different ideologies. You know, Malcolm X had one way of dealing with it. Martin Luther King had another way. Just like here. Booker T. Washington, you could say, was like Martin Luther King, and Marcus Garvey was like Malcolm X. See this? See the comparison? Let's continue.
Make it in 1914 with a plan that would shake the foundations of world power. His travels had shown him how the system kept Black people dependent and powerless worldwide. Now he was ready to build something new, an organization that would give Black people the economic and political power they'd been denied for centuries. The Printer's Apprentice was about to become a prophet of Black liberation. Marcus returned to Jamaica with big dreams, but almost no money. The island was still firmly under British control, and most Black Jamaicans were trapped in a cycle of poverty, working on plantations or as servants for wages that barely kept them alive. His first attempt at change was modest. In a small Kingston meeting hall, he gathered just 13 people to form what he called the Universal Negro Improvement Association, or the UNIA. Their goal? To do what the British colonial system refused to do: educate Black people and help them build businesses of their own. But Jamaica wasn't ready. The local elite, both Black and white, saw Marcus as a troublemaker. His message of racial pride and economic independence frightened them. After a year of struggle and barely any growth, he made a bold decision. He would go to Harlem. But this wasn't just any neighborhood in New York City. Harlem in 1916 was becoming the unofficial capital of Black America. Hundreds of thousands of African Americans were fleeing north from Jim Crow terror in what historians would later call the Great Migration, the largest movement of Black people since slavery. These newcomers were packed into Harlem's tenements, often working back-breaking jobs for low wages. But something else was happening here too. Black-owned businesses were opening. Black artists and writers were finding their voice. Black political movements were growing. Marcus rented a small basement room and began holding meetings. His first audience? Just 17 people. But something happened when he spoke. Here was a man talking about Black pride, not as some distant dream, but as a birthright. He didn't just talk about racism. He exposed the whole economic system, keeping Black people dependent on white businesses and white employers. A race without authority and power, he would thunder to his growing crowds, is a race with...
See, like, remember I said before, they want us to keep depending on them. That's what they want. And see, that was part of that Jim Crow letter. Have them depend on you. See, he showed these people, went to Harlem and helped build a whole lot of Black-owned businesses. Instead of, and his philosophy was, instead of depending on the white government, we can government ourselves. So he's a very powerful man, and to the oppressor, he's very dangerous. Because he was convincing people to stand up for themselves. You don't have to depend on them. But they want us to keep dependent on them. By us depending on them, they can control us.
Without respect, word spread through Harlem's streets and tenements. The basement meetings grew from dozens to hundreds. Marcus knew he needed a bigger platform. In 1918, he launched a newspaper called Negro World. While other papers avoided controversial topics to keep their white advertisers happy, Negro World refused to run ads for skin lighteners or hair straighteners. Its message was clear. Black is beautiful. Black is powerful. And black people need to build their own economic strength. The paper hit a nerve. Within months, it was selling thousands of copies, not just in Harlem, but across America, the Caribbean, and even in colonial Africa, where European governments tried to ban it because they feared its message of black independence. By 1918, Marcus had built something unprecedented. The Unia was no longer just a small group in a Harlem basement. It was becoming a movement that would shake America to its core. But Marcus was just getting started. His next move would be his boldest yet, and it would either make him the most important black leader in America or destroy everything he built. Imagine being black in 1919 America. You can't eat at most restaurants. You can't stay at most hotels. You can't even walk through the front door of most businesses. And then Marcus makes an announcement that sounds impossible. In a packed Liberty Hall, the UNIA's new headquarters in Harlem, Marcus declares that black people are going to build something that had never existed before, their own steamship line. The white-owned shipping companies had names like White Star Line and Cunard Line. Marcus's answer? The Black Star Line. To him, this was more about breaking a chain of dependency that went back to slavery. Every piece of cotton, every banana, every ounce of sugar that left black hands, it all had to travel on white-owned ships. Black businesses couldn't survive without depending on white shipping companies. Marcus's plan was audacious. Sell shares in the Black Star Line to black people at $5 each. That's about $75 in today's money. Not cheap for people making poverty wages. But something remarkable happened. Black porters, maids, factory workers, people who had never owned stock in anything, lined up to buy shares. This was buying a piece of freedom. Within months, they raised enough money to buy their first ship, the SS Yarmouth. Marcus had it renamed the Frederick Douglass. When it sailed into harbors across the Caribbean, thousands of black people would crowd the docks just to see it. A ship owned, operated, and crewed entirely by black people.
See, he taught independence. We don't have to depend on our oppressor. We can do everything ourselves. All we got to do is come together. You know, he had every black person donate $5. And like they say, that might not seem a lot to us today. But back then, that was a lot of money. And people donated $5. And they got their own shipping boat. You know, he was closing the economic gap. You know, he was breaking the chain of us having to depend on them. Now, that's what made him a dangerous man to America. It's all about economics, man. They want us to keep dependent on them. That's why they have programs like welfare and all that shit. That's dependency. That's dependency. Let's continue.
The Black Star Line became more than a business. It became a symbol of what black people could achieve. Soon, Marcus was announcing plans for regular shipping routes between America, the Caribbean, and Africa. Black businesses would finally have their own transportation network. By the end of 1919, Marcus had proven something powerful. Black people could build their own institutions, run their own businesses, control their own destiny, but his greatest triumph was still to come. The summer heat.
See, he showed black people that it could be done. It could, in my opinion, it could be done today. It could be done today. The only way it makes it impossible, seems impossible, because, a lot of people, is blind, don't see it. They don't believe it. But it can be done, and it has been done before. People say black people never got together. I'm showing you proof right now. I'm showing you evidence right now. It has been done before. And in my opinion, if we do that today, I think it'd be much better. But we still gonna face obstacles because they want us to depend. They want us to have to depend on them. But if we come together, we could do all that. Like, they got their own shipping boat. So I don't want to hear nobody ever say that black people never did it before. That's a lie. That's a lie. Like I say, I'm showing you evidence right now. Well, you listen to evidence right now that it has been done. Like I say, you can look it up. There's Black Stories Untold. Mr. Marcus Garvey, The Black Man Too Dangerous for America. Let's continue.
Make the streets of Harlem as 2,000 delegates from 22 countries made their way to Liberty Hall. This was the first international convention of the Negro peoples of the world. Nothing like this had ever happened before. In a time when most black people couldn't even vote, here were delegates from across the globe gathering to form what Marcus called a government in waiting for black people everywhere. The convention looked more like a gathering of a nation than a protest movement. The African Legion marched in military formation, black men in crisp uniforms who had fought in World War I, now serving as the security force of the UNIA. The Black Cross nurses, trained in healthcare and first aid, wore pristine white uniforms, inspired by the Red Cross. If white society wouldn't let black people serve in their institutions, Marcus would build new ones. Then came a moment that would echo through history. Marcus unveiled a new flag, red, black, and green. The red for the blood shed by black people in their fight for freedom, the black for the race, the green for Africa's rich land. Today,
That's the red, black, and green flag. That's where they came from. Marcus Garvey. See, if you listen to Marcus Garvey, you study Marcus Garvey, you will find out that Marcus Garvey teaching was a lot like the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam spoke of the same thing. We can be independent. We can build our own stores. We shouldn't have to depend on the government. We shouldn't have to depend on the people that oppress us. See, this is where a lot of the teachings of the Nation of Islam come from this man here. They had the same ideas. But if you come to Chicago, you can see the Nation of Islam opening a few businesses here in Chicago. You got restaurants, all that. Outside, you drive and you see representative of Nation of Islam selling them bean pies or selling them Final Call newspapers. So, yeah, let's continue.
You'll still see these colors at civil rights protests and in independence movements across Africa. You'll also see it in the banner for our channel, located right above the subscribe button. Maybe give it a click while you're looking around.
By switching to smarter pumps.
Okay, hold on. But yeah. That's how it was. Let's continue with the video. Hold on. Well, yeah, I've kind of lost my place, y'all. That commercial came up kind of quick. Okay. Think I'm in the right spot. Might went back a little bit, but
Declaration of Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World. Think of it as a Black Declaration of Independence. Years before the United Nations would declare human rights universal, this document demanded an end to racial discrimination, political independence for Africa, equal justice under law, and the right of Black people to control their own destiny. Not everyone in the Black community supported Marcus's vision. W.E.B. Du Bois was everything Marcus wasn't. Harvard educated, born in the North, respected by white society. As leader of the NAACP, Du Bois believed in integration and working within the system. The clash between these two men was a battle over the future of Black liberation. Du Bois called Marcus the most dangerous enemy of the Negro race. Marcus called Du Bois a tool of white supremacy. This divide between working within the system and building separate Black institutions would echo through civil rights movements for decades to come. Marcus's growing power hadn't gone unnoticed. J. Edgar Hoover, head of what would become the FBI, saw the movement as a threat to America itself. After
see, two Black men pinned up against each other. The division that's being caused. Shit never changed, man. Only thing, history just repeats itself. And when I do these videos, these lives, and go back in history, all I'm showing you is that history repeats itself. Nothing new happens. It be the same thing. It get two Black leaders going at each other. Cause division. Makes you have to choose. instead of everybody just coming together. That's going on today. You have to choose. Why do you have to choose? Why can't everybody just come together? Especially if we fight for the same cause, the independence of the black people. But the thing about my man, he was used as a token to go against Marcus Garvey, to divide. See, that goes all the way back to the house Negro and the field Negro. Boy, history repeats itself. Let's continue.
World War I, Hoover was obsessed with what he called radical Negro activities. One FBI agent reported that Garvey was, without doubt, one of the worst inciters in the United States today, among the Negroes, who, I believe, would do almost anything for him. The government was terrified that millions of black people were following a leader who preached complete independence from white society. Hoover built an unprecedented operation to destroy Marcus. His agency created a special investigation section just for Negro agitation. They hired their first black agents specifically to infiltrate the UNIA. Any black person who spoke out.
What'd I say? They always use us. They always use us. When they unalive Malcolm X, they used us. They'll get somebody within the organization, squeeze them, and have them give them information. They do surveillance, wiretap, just to find a way to bring you down. Try to embarrass you. That's what they do. But like you heard, he was getting too powerful. He was speaking too much of black people having their independence. And they didn't like that. They wanted you to keep dependent on them. By that, they can control you. What I tell you guys, it ain't no just running out my mouth, man. I'll show you evidence of what I'm talking about. Or I'll let you hear evidence what I'm talking about. I'm just not running my mouth, man. And you learn all this, man, when you want to get wise. You have to, it's important to learn history, man. It's important, man. When you learn history, you come to a better understanding. Let's continue.
Against racial injustice became a target for surveillance. In Hoover's own words, they needed to find some way to stop Marcus before he awakened black Americans to their own power. An internal memo from Hoover revealed his desperation. Unfortunately, he has not as yet violated any federal law whereby he could be proceeded against from the point of view of deportation. The FBI opened Marcus's mail. They tapped his phones. They planted spies in his organization. Every speech, every meeting, every movement was documented. They weren't just watching a man, they were watching a movement that threatened to change the entire social order. And eventually, Hoover would find the cracks in Marcus's empire through the Black Star Line. In that summer of 1920, Marcus had built the largest black movement in history, millions of followers, businesses across the country, a shipping line, a newspaper reaching hundreds of thousands. He was at the height of his power, and he was also about to lose everything. In the summer of 1922, Marcus made a decision that would haunt his legacy. He traveled to Atlanta to meet with Edward Young Clark, a leader of the Klan. To understand why a black leader would meet with the Klan, you need to understand Marcus's thinking. The Klan preached racial separation. Marcus preached black self-reliance. In his mind, they shared a common belief that the races should develop separately. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Black newspapers called him a traitor. His followers were shocked. Even those who had defended his other controversial decisions couldn't understand this one. J. Edgar Hoover saw his opportunity. Now, with Marcus's reputation damaged, they made their move. He couldn't arrest Marcus before because that would just look like political persecution. He needed something that looked legitimate, something that would let him destroy Marcus's movement while appearing to simply enforce the law. He found it in an unlikely place, the Postal Service. See, there was a powerful federal law that made it a crime to use the U.S. mail as part of any deceptive scheme. Mail fraud, they called it. And with the Black Star Line struggling, every letter Marcus sent promoting the company, every stock certificate mailed to investors, every piece of promotional material that went through the Postal Service could now be called fraud. It didn't matter that government agents had helped sabotage the ships. It didn't matter that some of Marcus's own officers were taking bribes to undermine the company. It didn't even matter if Marcus truly believed he could turn things around. All that mattered was that he used the mail while the company was in trouble. That was enough for federal charges. That was enough for prison time. The evidence that Hoover had, a single empty envelope addressed to one investor. The trial in 1923 revealed how desperate the government was to stop Marcus. The prosecutor painted him as a con man preying on poor black people. Marcus, defending himself, tried to explain his larger vision, but the all-white jury had made up their minds before he spoke his first word. The sentence, 5 years in Atlanta Federal Penitentiary. Hoover had discovered a powerful new weapon, one that would be used against black leaders for decades to come. If you couldn't arrest someone for challenging the system, you could always find some technical violation to bring them down. In 1927, President Calvin Coolidge commuted his sentence, but ordered him deported back to Jamaica. Marcus would never set foot in the United States again. The movement couldn't survive without its leader. The UNIA splintered, membership declined, the businesses closed one by one. The great dream of black economic independence seemed to die. But even as Marcus boarded the ship that would take him from America forever, seeds he had planted were beginning to grow. His message of black pride and self-reliance had spread too far to be stopped by prison bars or deportation orders. Every time you see another nation on the African continent become independent, Malcolm X once said, you know that Marcus Garvey is alive. Malcolm knew what he was talking about. His father, Earl Little, was a UNIA organizer who preached Marcus's message of black pride to his children. Marcus's fingerprints were everywhere in the decades that followed his deportation. The Nation of Islam adopted his message of black economic independence and racial pride. When they built their own businesses and preached self-reliance, they were following Marcus's blueprint. In Jamaica, a new religious movement called Rastafari emerged. They saw Marcus as a prophet, taking his teachings about African redemption and pride in black identity to create a new faith that would spread globally. But perhaps Marcus's greatest impact came in Africa itself. Kwame Nkrumah, who would lead Ghana to become the first independent black African nation, explicitly credited Marcus's teachings. When Ghana designed its first shipping line after independence, they named it the Black Star Line. The red, black, and green flag Marcus created in 1920 became the colors of African liberation. You'll find them in the flags of nations across Africa and at civil rights protests around the world. His message of economic independence found new life in every generation. When civil rights leaders in the 1960s talked about black capitalism, they were echoing Marcus. When Black Lives Matter protesters today talk about supporting black-owned businesses, they're channeling his vision. The movement Marcus built may have crumbled, but the dream survived. A dream of black people standing proud, controlling their own destiny, building their own future. J. Edgar Hoover might have been able to destroy Marcus, the person, maybe even his reputation. His organizations may have been dismantled, his businesses may have been destroyed, but Marcus's dreams were prison-proof. In that summer day in Harlem in 1920, 2,000 delegates marching down Lenox Avenue, the African Legion in their uniforms, the Black Cross nurses in white, the flags waving red, black, and green in the August sun.
Look for me in a world when I was calm. Look for me up great. I just come up with
See, like I say, if you get too powerful, they're gonna find a way to destroy you. They're gonna find a way to destroy you. It's a shame, man. It's a shame. Yep. So I just wanted to show you guys the evidence, like what I be talking about, man. History repeats itself. And you heard the main prosecutor, J. Edgar Hoover. How many black leaders did J. Edgar Hoover take down? That was his career. That was J. Edgar Hoover's career, taking down black leaders who became a threat to the United States. That was the name he made for himself. Yep. So, like I say, people, I wasn't going to make no long live today. Make it a little short. I just wanted to touch brief on a little bit about, like I'll be talking about, bring a little evidence just to show you guys, man. It's not about race. It's all about good and evil. Because as I showed you, your own people can turn against you. The method of the man is to separate, keep you divided. They practiced that since slavery, even before the United States slavery. As you see, they had slavery in other places than America. They had places of slavery over there in Europe. So slavery just wasn't going on in the United States. And slavery didn't begin in the United States. So that's important to learn your history, man. You learn all that. That's what you learn. And you also learn that black folks have come together before. But every time they did, it got destroyed. And half the time, one of us has something to do with it. Yep. That's life, man. That's life. All right, gang. Thanks for the people who came through. I appreciate it. appreciate it. Like I said, it's gonna be a short live. So gonna get off of here, man. Probably check and see if my guys on. I just wanted to bring that little information. I'm thinking of doing the live where I probably hit one of these public transportation, show you guys Chicago from the L train, you know. They show you, you know, life in Chicago. You know, see different things. A little some fun shit like that, man. So, yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing, man. What day, I don't know. Because one day I might just pop up live and I'll be on the L train, riding the L train. You know, sometimes I like to do things. Instead of driving, I'll jump on the train, just ride. I haven't done that in a long time, though, but I used to like to do that. So I think it'd be fun. Yeah. But, you know, just stay tuned. All right, gang. I don't know if I'm going live tomorrow. Probably take a day off. Then probably be back on Saturday morning. Well, what's today? Thursday? Yeah, Saturday morning. What's up, cuz? How long you been in here? Are you just waking up? Hey, you sleeping later and later, huh? Yeah, I kind of overslept this morning too. I was up watching the game. I kind of overslept my damn self. Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotta take my daughter to school in a little bit. So I was about to make me another cup of coffee, chill, mashed potato. What you eat? Oh, that's what you got to eat? You must be going to get a tooth pulled. Yeah, well, you probably missed a little bit of it, cuz. Cause I went deep. I had went to the book of Enoch. Oh, okay. I had went to the book of Enoch. And I was just showing people that it's not really about race. It's about good and evil. And the book of Enoch is one of the books that was taken out the Bible. See, in the King James Version, if you go to Genesis, you know, Enoch is mentioned. But it don't say anything else about Enoch. So that's how you know the book of Enoch is took it out right there from the King James Version. Because the book of Enoch explained who Enoch was. That God had showed Enoch, Enoch was the first man of flesh to enter the kingdom of heaven, to see the kingdom of heaven. basically. But that story is not in the King James Version. That's why I say if you read these different books, you can see what's missing in the King James Version. Oh, you came in on Garvey? Yeah. Yeah. On that, I was showing how, see, everything's the same, nothing changed. How they use the tactics of division to divide us. And where the teachings necessarily of the Nation of Islam came from. Because all of it was about Black independence and Black unity. That's what Marcus Garvey was about. That's what Nation of Islam. Togetherness and independency. Yeah. So it was very interesting. Yeah. That's another Bible I told people to read. That's the original Bible. That's the original. It got the story of Enoch in there, the Ethiopian Bible. The Ethiopian Bible covers everything from beginning to end. Yep. Well, there are people you should read. See, yeah, exactly. And how many books in the King James? Let them know, cuz. How many books in the King James Bible? I go to show you right there. That's why it's good to do your own research. Exactly. 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 This is the type of information that's available to you just by the tip of your fingers. You can learn all this. Because like I say, you saw these other people, they had to go overseas and they had to do all that. You don't have to leave your house, your apartment. All this information is at the tip of your finger. It's at the tip of your finger. You know, you like to look up everything else. See, you'll go on YouTube to learn how to fix something. You go on YouTube to learn how to braid your hair. You know how to go on YouTube to do all these other things. Use YouTube to learn something. Or even Google. The information is there. So being so being blind, there's no need. And stop believing what people say. That black people can't work together. Sometimes it's not always that we can't work together. That ain't the problem. Because we can work together. We can build together. It's just that some people don't want to. And that brings division. We just keep falling to the same trap. Wow. That's why I love history. Because I recognize the trap. When you become wise, man, you see, it's a wonderful thing to gain wisdom. It's a wonderful thing. I never understood when I used to hear the saying of keep on living. I never knew what that meant. But now I do. If you live long enough to survive in this world, you learned a lot of things. Because as you live, you're supposed to get smarter. Like they say, you shouldn't be dumb all your life. So we have to learn to understand that we're being played. We're being played. The way we act towards one another, the way we disrespect one another, is a play. That's how they want us to be, because we divided. And sometimes we are our worst enemy because we apply it. We apply the division. So we doing their work. They don't have to do it no more. It's already planted. And we keep throwing water on it. We the water. They planted the seeds, but we the water. We helping it grow. So everything is happening, we doing it ourselves. It ain't what you say, the white man, as people might say. Because they already got us stuck on dependency. And they already got us, that separatism shit. See, we the water. They planted the seed, so we the water. We helping it grow. All they did was planted the seed. So we destroying ourselves. It's plain and simple. Everything we do is our choice. It's choice. It's our choice. We choose to unalive each other. We choose to disrespect each other. We chose to hate each other. Nobody ain't making us do it. We're doing everything to ourselves. Like I say, they planted the seeds and we the water. We helping that shit grow. All right, people, I'm out of here on that note. Everybody have a good day. See you around.